super impromptu video, not normally my style of content, but I'm just gonna go for it. There was one time that I hired a coach for making content, and I remember this one saying that he said, document instead of create. That way, people can actually get an inside scoop on what is happening in your life at this moment. And this is exactly the type of video that I am here to share with you guys today. So lately, I have been going through the quantum crumble. I have been manifesting a lot of things, calling in like a job where I absolutely love what I'm doing and I'm passionate about it. And it lights me on fire and it makes me feel so good. And I can live the lifestyle that I want where I can travel for months at a time and not necessarily be in my country. I can work remote. I'm making insane money doing the things that I actually love. And after having a baby, it really just changed a bunch of things because the job that I used to have, it's like a 12 to 8 and daycare is like 9 to 5. So there's blockages and I had a lot of things just completely crumble and completely change in my life after having a baby, which really put things into perspective because I realized that the life I had created for myself before wasn't truly in alignment 100% for the things I actually wanted to create. And a lot of people can see that as like, oh my gosh, you can have just crazy feelings. Like, why is this happening to me? I'm so sad. I'm so lost. I don't know what's going on. But you can also look at it as an opportunity to move forward, build something new that you didn't have before, and you can see all of the opportunities that you're presented with at that moment. And don't get me wrong, like I totally went through those feelings, and that's totally fine. You can be down for a minute. And I feel like going through the initial shock and grieving, because there's a cycle in life, right? There's life, death, and rebirth. And when you're going through a cycle of death, after you watch something live in your life and you built this life for yourself and you were a single independent woman who made her own money and you were happy doing that, you had peace and alignment in your life, you had a solid routine, you had a good career that was producing a lot of money for someone my age, and you just felt like you had success, it is totally fine to have those feelings and have those emotions. And I'm not saying that that's what you're living. You know, you probably have something else that you're losing, and that's another type of loss for you. But it's normal to have those feelings of grief because if you didn't, quite frankly, you didn't like what you had. And it's totally fine. So, after that, you want to be able to have the mindset of like, okay, I do have an opportunity in front of me and what am I going to do with it? And I think that that is really where I'm at right now. And that is the start of rebirth. So it's exciting because there's a lot of opportunities. There's a bunch of space that you can actually rebuild. And I had a ton of opportunities flood in of things that I can do, which really, really tested me and made me go into like an introspective type of feeling and way of thinking, I guess, to dig deeper inside and figure out what do I actually want to achieve. Because my last season of my life, I put a lot of energy and focus into achieving something that I knew wasn't exactly what I wanted to achieve. I want to have a YouTube brand. Like, I'm just going to be fully transparent with you guys. I want to have a YouTube brand. I want to travel. I want to have a podcast. I want to be successful. I want to be a digital producer and I want to create content. And that is really what I want to do. When you ask me what I want to do and when you ask me my dreams, that is my dream. And it's been my dream for forever. And I decided that I looked at a lot of people that were doing that and were successful in the space. And everyone said, like all the multimillionaires, they said that they had at some point done cold calls and did sales. And so I decided I was going to do sales because partly for the money, I wanted to make 6 figures and I wanted that as like a status symbol and an achievement for myself. That way I could tell myself I did that. And then I had like the proud moment of attaining a goal. And I also wanted to do that because I saw a lot of people doing that had what I wanted. And so I decided that I was going to take their advice. Now, what I didn't realize is no matter what, like, alley or avenue, I guess, I would pick to what I was going to be doing with my life, rather that's going to be like a CEO assistant. I had that job offered to me multiple times. If I'm going to be a CEO assistant, or if I'm going to build this business, work on this business, or if I'm going to do door to door and build my character and personally develop, The thing that you fail to realize, or if I'm going to pick the avenue of really what my dream is, what I want to be doing every single day, what speaks to me on a heart and soul level, because there's so much fear around that. You pick these other avenues and you think that it's going to bring you more ease. You think it's going to be easier, but what you don't realize, and what I didn't realize, but now I'm realizing it, is that guess what? You can pick the avenue that seems easier, but as long as it is not your goal, it is not going to be fulfilling to you. And quite frankly, you are still going to have issues, okay? You're still going to have hardship. It's still going to be incredibly difficult. I'm sorry, work with me guys here. I know this isn't the best filming I've had. I don't have my tripod at home. This is just so impromptu. But anyways, you're going to have hardships, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to have to grow while you're in pursuit of that thing. And that's something that I really failed to realize in the beginning. I don't know if I would have picked the exact same path and executed things as I did. Of course, I have zero regrets because it built me so much as a person that I'm just so grateful for that. And I feel I can show up in any area that I choose, any avenue that I choose, as just a better person overall because I had those experiences and I grew in that way. But what I wish I would have done, and what I wish you would do, and what I wish for myself to do, and the decisions I'm going to make moving forward, is I'm going to choose to do the hard thing for the thing I actually want. I'm going to choose to make the sacrifice and do the scary shit and make the sacrifices and focus unbelievably hard and just put in the overtime, whatever I need to do, right? I'm going to do that for the things I actually want to do, as opposed to not entirely my dream or working for someone else's dream. And so I realized that having this whole quantum crumble has really given me the opportunity to have a bunch of opportunities in front of me and notice I cannot really go back to life as it was before. Of course, when you become a mom, there's a lot of things that change permanently. And once you are a mom, you're a mom for life. And that's not going to change. And so I did grieve. I did go through that whole emotional part of it. But now I'm seeing that there is an opportunity for me to choose the difficult path of whatever is in front of me. And I need to fully just go all in on my dream. And I just kind of wanted to document this because if you feel like you're going through the same thing, I want to be able to kind of give you my train of thought behind it, the decisions I'm going to make. And also in a few years' time, I can look back on this video and be like, oh my gosh, I remember that moment. It was a turning point for me. And as I see these words, by the way, I feel so much fear. I feel so scared. And I feel like so many people look at me and my life and the things I've accomplished and the things I've done, and they think that I feel invincible and that I have incredible confidence and that I just am like this force of nature. And while none of those things are untrue, I do have great confidence. I do feel like a force of nature, and I do feel very proud for all the things I've accomplished. I want to be frank with you. I do also feel fear. I do also look at things as this monumental Everest thing, and I do have emotions. And I feel like so many times we look at people and we put them on such a pedestal. We think that their life has been absolutely perfect, that their success has been linear, and not only linear, but exponential, okay? We think that they have just risen from the ground one day and they were just this incredibly awesome person, and ever since they've been awesome, they haven't had any struggles, they haven't had any fears. And it sounds so stupid when I say it like that, right? But the thing is that we all look at people like that. We look at the celebrities like that, we look at the famous people like that, and we look at our idols, our mentors, the people that we put on pedestals in our life, and we think that about them consciously or subconsciously. That is the assumptions that we're making. And so I wanted to share this with you guys today because I want you to know that I am human. I do have those emotions. I do have those fears. And if you're going through something similar, I want you to make the same decision that I'm making right now, because it scares the shit out of me, but I know it's the right thing to do. And I know that I'm going to get rewarded exponentially by doing the right thing. And those things, when you make the right decision, it is crazy and it is true. And then sometimes there is a little bit of magic and miracle that comes into your life where you feel like, I'm scared, I don't want to do the thing, but then you get into it and then you have this flow and things start flowing. And since you're acting in alignment with your soul, your calling, and your mission, the reason that you're put here, then things really do start to work out for you in an exponentially good way. That's all for me today. And I just want to leave you with those words of encouragement to do the scary thing and just get it done. Fully commit. Give yourself zero other options. And actually, there was this quote that I think Brad Lee said on his Instagram maybe a week or two ago. He said, if you treat your business, how did he say that? If you treat your business as a job, you're not going to need a job to support your business. Because I remember he was telling a story. He was like, yeah, at one point, I had this business that I was running, but I needed to get a job because I couldn't afford to run this business anymore because it was just so expensive. But I showed up at the job in a way that I didn't show up in my business. And I realized that if I would show up at my business the way I show up at my job, I would no longer need this job. So this goes out to you guys. Either you're owning a business that isn't where you want it to be, or you've had setbacks in your business and you're just not reaching the targets that you want. Maybe you're a new mom. Maybe you just had your life completely flipped on its lid and you're like, oh my God. Or maybe you have a dream that's been speaking to you lately and you don't know how to respond. But I definitely have been hearing from my heart lately, and I definitely know how I'm going to respond. And it's not what doesn't scare me and it's not what feels safe, but it is what feels right.